Hello, good morning and welcome everybody. So great to see so many of you signed up for today's AI Masterclass with myself and Maggie. We're going to introduce ourselves shortly, but a bit of housekeeping while people are arriving. We are streaming out to all channels all around the world globally. So if you're watching us on LinkedIn, Facebook, maybe on YouTube, good morning and welcome to you. My name is David Bell. I'm the CEO of Simboc Ltd. I'm going to let Maggie say hello and good morning in a moment, but just a little bit of housekeeping for you whilst you're here, because this is a live webinar. Unfortunately, we don't get to see your beautiful faces here live on the screen, but what we can see is the comments and the chats. So you are very welcome at any time to put any questions in there and tell us how you're feeling. Maybe you've got a question about AI, maybe introduce yourself to other delegates that are joining us here this morning. If you are on LinkedIn, you'll be able to post into the chat, and we will also be able to see that in the live studio and take your questions as well. Now, the whole idea of this workshop, this masterclass, this webinar is that it's live, it's dynamic. Maggie and I have got a journey to take you on over the next couple of hours. We've got our very special guest joining us around 10 o'clock this morning. Who's going to be taking us into a little bit more depth about prompting and how to make AI prompting very professional and how you can get the best out of using your language models and the various other AI tools, but just by getting that prompt defined. And we're going to talk more about that as we go through this morning. We've got lots of tools to share and show as well. And of course, what we really want is for you to ask those questions, because if you ask those questions, we don't know what rabbit hole we're going to go down. We don't know where we're going to end up. And of course, we're going to learn from you as much as we're going to share some of the stuff with you. We don't know it all, do we, Maggie? We've got some ideas. We've got lots to share with you this morning. But really, the whole idea about this is being interactive and very dynamic. And if we go off down a rabbit hole, then so be it. That's the fun of being live. And of course, this is being recorded. If you signed up and registered for this, you will get a recording immediately after the event finishes. And if you are following us on LinkedIn or one of the other social channels, you'll be able to access it through those. So you can always dive back in to the content that we share this morning. Now, enough from me. I'm going to hand over to Maggie to say good morning and tell us who you are, Maggie.
Good morning, David. I love the enthusiasm because that's what we said we'll be doing today. So Maggie Sarfo, I am the founder and CEO of Meres Consult Ltd, and it's all about helping you with AI and growth. So we're really excited to be here. Right.
Yeah, a couple of quick shout outs to Debbie Gilbert from the Best Business Awards, SME Awards, and the Best Women's Business Awards. Well, both of us are familiar with Maggie. It's actually what drew us together and connected us a year or so ago. And then we got talking over winners' drinks and stuff like that. Just want to say thank you very much to Debbie to sharing this to her network and inviting some of the delegates that we got here this morning along. And if you do want to enter a business awards, do look up the Best Business Awards. The SME ones are open to all and everybody across the land. That's the UK. I don't know if there's been anyone entered from further afield, but Debbie might be able to tell us in the chat. But if you are a female, of course, also what we also want to do is fly the flag for female business owners and entrepreneurs as well. And Debbie runs a marvelous Women's Business Awards. Unfortunately, you've just missed the entry point for 2026, but I know she'll be back in 27 because I think they're 15 years on and in now. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. Thank you very much, Debbie. And to all our other friends and partners and sponsors that have made this happen today. We're going to hear from one of those sponsors and partners very shortly later on today.
Wonderful.
Now, Maggie, when we put this together, we said we wanted to make this free, inclusive for everybody, regardless if they could, we thought we could charge for this, and we probably could have done, but we said, no, we're not. We want to make it inclusive and give the ability to everybody to start to understand how AI is changing the world. In some cases for the better, and some would argue maybe not as well. But we wanted to make this inclusive, and we wanted to share lots of ideas, things, and real life takeaways. We called it Get Your Hands Dirty. Just maybe from your perspective, tell us a little bit about how AI is affecting the people you're working with, the customers and the clients, and maybe, where you're involved with the business awards and stuff like that. What are you seeing out there? What's your feeling? What's the feeling of SMEs, small business owners out there?
Wonderful. So yeah, before I do that, I answer your question directly, David. A big shout out to one of our friends who also promoted this for us. So it's Mark Sarfo, who is the founder of Nexus. Is a government awarding body for international innovation SMEs. And they've got a very interesting awards coming up shortly as well. So as time goes on, I may be able to drop the So back to the question, what are my feels out there in the world of AI? So I was thinking about this the other day, David, and I was looking at some of the stats that showed up. Of course, they keep moving, but the latest one I've seen is that 77% of AI of SMEs are actually saying AI is a priority. But then only 1 in 4 are actually taking real action around it. So that makes me wonder, what are we doing that is not making us take more action or get the results we're looking for? So yeah, so that's one of the fields. We also see that, for those who are using AI to create content, especially for marketing, they are saying that they're creating the content 10 times faster. And so then it's a case of, yes, once you save that time, where does that time go? Make sure you're not losing it back in back in AI, because, sometimes you may have saved the time, but you may end up using the time back in AI because you're not focused or you didn't prompt properly. So you're spending all your time checking and all of those kind of things as well. So those are some of what I'm seeing at the moment, but it's still a very hot topic. We know it's not going to go away. And when you mention it, people lean in. We want to gradually move away from just talking about it and see how it can bring real business value to us, which is, again, one of the reasons why we're here, to help people get even more excited and get their hands dirty, do the do, because AI happens to be the kind of, what we say, playing leveler in a way, because you have to assume you know nothing and get your hands dirty and start to learn the skills, especially as they are always shifting.
Yeah, and that's the thing, since AI has been around for decades, but it really kind of floated itself when OpenAI launched ChatGPT about 3 and a bit years ago now. And since then, obviously, we've gone through an amazing transformation. These tools, and I use the word tools because it kind of reflects across all the different things available. They're becoming, far superior every day. People say to me, how do you keep up with what's happening in the AI market? I'm saying, I struggle. It's overwhelming. And that's me. And I live it and breathe it and been in the tech industry for 30 years. But it is challenging. And what we want to do, we want to debunk a few of those myths today. We want to give some people some guidance and the things that they can think about and go off and try. We've got some great things to share with them that are going to be able to implement after today, after this finishes. And of course, you can follow along as well. We're happy for you to do so. But what you might find is make a few notes. For those that registered, by the way, as I said, you're going to get the video, but not only are you going to get the video, you're going to get a copy of any of the static slides that we've got, which we don't have too many anyway, because this is about conversation. But we've also put together a little bundle pack for you as well, which will be sent to all of those that registered. And if you haven't registered and you want to get your hands on those, we're going to ask you just to put a comment in LinkedIn and say, send it to me and give me, a DM so we can then pass it on. Because, as I say, this is all free. This is us giving back and making sure everybody can be on that same playing field. So, Maggie, before we jump in, because you're going to kick us off with some of the content to get us going, I've got a question for everybody here for them to write down and maybe start to answer immediately or throughout this morning's session. And it's this: if you had an AI assistant that could solve one problem in your business, what would it be? If you had an AI assistant that could solve one problem in your business, what would it be? So that's the question I'm putting out to everybody that's tuning in and listening today. And I wonder what that might be. Now, you can start to pop your details into the chat, what that might be. But maybe hold on to that thought. We will come back and reflect on it, because I think, as you said, Maggie, there's loads of great tools out there and they can save us time. But the trouble is we save time and then we just do more. So all of a sudden we free up time, we just end up doing more. And then do we really have any more available time to do things that we want to do, which might be spend time with a family or something like that, whatever that might be. And we don't want to lose that human touch either. We spoke about the human touch. And it's very important.
Yes. So that question, David, is spot on, because you need to really always be reining yourself back into your business. What are my business problems? What are my business problems? Rather than what are the AI tools out there? Otherwise, you just go chasing them. And I call them, shiny objects, and they will keep coming. They're not going to stop. And so it's important for you to rein yourself back. So that's a good question. Ponder over it, share with us in the chat, and David and I will take turns really looking into, what you're putting in the chat and answering as much as we can for you. Right. So when it comes to AI, and I'll share one more stat before I move into your toolkit. So another stat that's coming up is how SMEs are saying that, 40% of the time they are saving, that's the time they're saving as a result of using AI for some of the admin activities in their business. That's 40%. So ask yourself again, what are your business problems? Is admin part of it? And could you save 40% of that time? And if you could, where would that time go? Where will that time go? I know, for example, one of our clients, we have saved them, in excess of 7,000 hours for the year. And they equated that to 2 to 3 employees, per month. So think about where that time, is going, because that's the whole point of AI. Okay, so, and coming back into the questions again, before you select the tools, ask yourself these questions. So what are my business challenges? Is AI part of the solution? And if so, what are the best AI solutions for me? And of course, I know a lot of you are already using so many tools out there. But the thing is, when it comes to your toolkit for AI, and they will evolve over time, but this is a very, very simple way of deciding what type of AI tool you need, because there are 3 categories of AI tools when it comes to what needs to go into your toolkit. So for instance, if the problem to your question was, oh, I have communication problems, content writing, marketing, all of those kind of things. If that's the problem, then generative AI is the type of tool that you're looking for, right? The ones for doing customer responses, marketing, proposals, emails, all of those kind of things, they come under generative AI, right? Now, if your answer to your question was process, right? So within your business, it's about process, then you want AI plus automation, right? So that is where you're looking at the AI tools that add automation, maybe feeding into your CRM system, pushing back into LinkedIn to look for prospects, all those kinds of things. There's so many forms of automations, but that is solving your process problems. And then the third angle is if yours is more decision problems, analysis of the data you have, all those kind of things, then what you're looking for is analytics plus predictive AI, what others might call agentic AI. And that's kind of the higher level when your systems start to talk to each other. So your generative AI, your automation plus AI, and your analytics and predictive tools are talking to each other, and they are doing stuff sometimes without your permission. But then remember, the human in the loop is important, and your tools are as good as you make them, which is why, I normally talk about kind of developing your own emotional intelligence, knowing how to train your AI tools, all of those kind of things. So back to the question again, or another question, what AI tools are you using at the moment? Right, so what are you using for the comms section? What are you using for the process sections? And what are you using for the decision problems? Let's see what you've got. Let's see what you've got. It's very exciting. Okay.
Now, what we do have, Maggie, for those that probably are following us here, we have a slight 15-second delay on our live stream back out to the
yeah.
So We're going to wait for some comments to appear into the chat, but they're not always immediate because it can just take a moment or two for people to type. And
whilst we're doing it, we'll share the one slide that we wanted to share with you today. So here we go. Wonderful. So these are some examples of, some of the tools that you may already have, or you may be thinking of having. Mind you, I always bring you back to what you already have, because you may have it covered, because you may not be using all the functions of, say, your ChatGPT, for instance. And so always go back to what you have, because at some point when you start to scale your AI systems, again, that becomes agentic, your tools need to communicate with each other. And so if you were doing more with one particular one, like your ChatGPT, your Claude, your Gemini, if you're doing more with that, then it's not trying to plug in and connect to so many systems. So have a think about that. Right. So, we have the general AI assistants that we've talked about. So again, I think everyone who talks about AI goes first the generative AI piece, which again is your ChatGPT, your Claude, your Copilot from Microsoft, your Claude from Anthropic, and your Gemini, and all those other related ones. Then for content writing, for marketing, some would then move on to the likes of Jasper, right? Copy AI, Canva, for instance, Adobe Firefly. So again, think about your blog posts, your social media, your content, your visuals, for instance, the campaigns that you're doing within your business, right? And again, if you're using any of these tools, drop them in the chat. Would love to read about them. If you have questions about them, drop them in the chat, because like David said, we are always learning, and that's the world of AI. I think one thing that I said in a panel conversation recently is that when it comes to AI, it doesn't matter whether you are the leader or you're part of the team. Just assume you know nothing, right? Because it's moving. Even if you did yesterday, it may move today. So I think it's a very humbling experience for everyone. Then how about your customer communications, right? What tools are you using there? So think about it. For instance, if you use Zendesk or Tido, I don't know if it's Tido or Tido, but think about some of those customer communication tools as well, because could it feed into your chatbot on your website? Convert your conversations, lead people through the customer journey, make them take the action. Depending on what you sell within your business, they could easily buy through your chatbot on your website and or your other digital channels. So think about how you're using this, because ultimately, remember, it's about saving time and money and diverting that back into your business for growth and for more business value, right? Productivity and admin, we talked about that as well. What are you using, right? Notion is very popular. I'd love to see who is using Notion out here. So if you are, drop that in the chat. Would love to know. Again, there is Copilot as well, 365. And there is a lot in terms of productivity tools in there as well. So yeah, let us know. Otter, David and I were talking about Otter yesterday, the opportunity to record your meetings and summarize the actions, because sometimes, multitasking can be that thing, right? So, being able to capture at least the action points is so important. And I know David will go into that later on today as well. Then your sales and outreach, your HubSpot, that is where, again, the process conversation that we were having earlier comes in. Your CRM integrations, sending it out onto, LinkedIn Sales Navigator to pull in the right leads for you that have the intent of buying right now. Those are some of the really good things that we get to do with AI now. So think about those and see how you really start to get the business value from AI rather than playing with it sometimes. Then we have data and reporting, again, depending on your business, and it could be even your accounts, right? How are you using AI to help you? And we've got some examples on here as well, like Julius AI. There is one that's a GPT one as well. So think about it. Back to the question, what are my business challenges? Is AI part of the solution? And if so, what is the best AI solution for me? So I'll stop presenting this slide for now. But again, think about it. And it's not about how many tools you have. It's about the value these tools are making for you. Then we want to start talking about how are we making sure these tools are giving us exactly what we want. And that's when we start to use the P word, right? So that's when we start to look at the prompting. And so our outputs, what we get out of AI, is as good as what we're putting in our input. And our input most of the time is about the prompt, right? So there is so much more, but I wanted to kind of hint that as we move on to the next part of our conversation this morning. David.
Yeah, the prompting is so important, and we're going to find out why in a very short while. I've been watching the comments and the chat coming through. I'm just going to pick on a few of them here. So you're asking what people are using. Well, there's no surprise here. Nancy, thank you. ChatGPT and Gemini, two really. People say to me, what ones do you use, David? And I say, well, pretty much all of them, because I use them for different case reasons. So I use ChatGPT a lot, OpenAI. I use Gemini a lot, and I'm going to do a quick demo with Gemini in a little while as well. I do use Claude. Claude is kind of the smart professional schoolboy, as I like to call it. It just is much more sensible on occasions, where ChatGPT can be a little bit more kind of flamboyant and a little bit more kind of, out there, so to speak. And then Perplexity, great research. And again, I'm going to talk a little bit about Perplexity and their browser comment in a little while as well. So thank you for that. Kate had put Claude, Canva, and Notion mostly. So 3 tools being used there. So that's really cool. She also added into that and Lovable, which is great. You can build some really cool applications in that as well. Debbie put, I use Otter. Well done, Debbie. Yeah, I love Otter. It's a fantastic platform. And we were talking about this, and people say, well, why do I want to go off and pay for another tool like Otter or Fireflies or one of the other transcription apps like Granola? And I say, well, yes, you can use Zoom, and you can use, in this case, it might be Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, and they all do their own transcription. But what it does, it keeps it in that platform. Where if you're using Otter, you bring everything, all of your meetings, in-person meetings, virtual meetings, all into one space. So all your meeting notes stay together in one place, which works really, really well. Natalie's put, she uses Fathom, and it's amazing and free. So it's another note-taking app. Yeah, really good. And yeah, you're right, it is free. They do have a paid-for tier, I think, if you want some of the bells and whistles, but you do everything on the free one. And to be fair, with Otter and Fireflies, you can as well. So these are all great. If you've got other tools, by the way, that you do use, please pop it in the chat. Let us know, because that will be really, really cool. And now,
sorry, David. One thing that I wanted to really also talk about is the importance of seeing how ready you are. So, for instance, we have built an AI readiness assessment tool. And again, you could add this into your toolkit. Why is it important? I mean, I tell you this all the time. It's not so much about the tool. It's about your business. It's about how you bring the human in the mix and how you then enable your business with good AI tools that support you. And so then you want to look at, am I ready for it, right? And the AI readiness assessment takes you through 7 aspects of your business, from your strategy and leadership to your data, to your technology, to your governance. Safety is really important, to your culture and other aspects of your business, and how you are adopting, how you are selecting the use cases, right? When you're asking what problems do I have in my business, you're also asking the question, what is the most applicable use case for AI, right? And being able to do like a 10-minute readiness assessment, like the one we've got here now, gives you a very good sense of where you are, right? Is your data ready? Because AI is as good as how your data, how ready your data is. Without the data, you can't do much. And so take an AI readiness assessment. I've given you one here. It's completely free of charge. It takes only about 10 minutes. And then once you've used it, it gives you a report, a personalized report of where your business is, and some recommendations on the areas you need to work on so you are fully ready. And of course, then you start to look at what is my plan for really making AI work for me within my business. And your plan is your AI strategy. So have a think about all of that.
Yeah, the link is on the screen now, but it's also in the chat as well. So you can't click the screen, but you can click the link in the chat, of course. So we're going to have a little, well, we're going to call it a comfort break. But of course, in the spirit of football, we're going to call it a rehydration break. You can boo if you like, of course, but we will stop about 10:30 for a hydration break where you'll be able to take a break. Maggie and I will still be here, and we're going to work through your questions. So we're not going to stop on air, but that's the point where you're sitting there with your legs crossed, or you need to top up your coffee cup. Around about 10:30, we're going to announce this rehydration break, so you can run off, fill up, come back, and we will do some Q&A during that session as well. So we are going to run through right the way up to 11:30, but there is time to take a quick step out. So AI readiness assessment, really good, Maggie, is going to get people thinking, answering some of the questions, picking up some of the things that they're strong at, not so good at, things they need to improve on as well. And that's really part of the process, isn't it? If you're not ready, then how do you know what you should be doing, what tools to use, and how to utilize them as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the feedback I get is incredible. And, you know, of course, there are some other AI, but essentially readiness assessment tools out there. But essentially, I mean, what we're finding with a lot of leaders, boards, and even teams is that without a readiness assessment, you don't always have that common language. You know, like if someone starts to say, oh, and the use case is this, or blah, blah, blah. If you don't have a common language around what you're doing with AI within your business, is sometimes not very easy to communicate around AI, let alone to look at what your plan is and to get real benefit from, you know, your AI initiatives. And so, yes, so the readiness assessment is really good. It gives you that, you know, puts everyone on the page where when someone mentions something, everyone knows what they're talking about. So, you know, when you do it, maybe, you know, share it with a business partner, share it with a team member, so you have the same language around what you're talking about when you're looking at how you can benefit and profit the most from your AI activities, and how you look at the human in the loop conversation as well, because we're not saying AI does it all. It's about us being in a better position to be in the loop and then get AI to do the stuff that we don't want, or the stuff that AI does better for us.
Just pick up on a quick comment here. James put, prefer granola to Otter, doesn't need to join the meeting. You were correct, James. About 3 months ago, that was the case. But Otter now can join the meeting, or it can sit outside and it doesn't need to come in. So it's not so obvious. The days of having all these note takers appearing up in your Zoom or Teams meeting and the people are not there, just the note taker, then days have kind of gone, I think, a little bit now. We've gone through another transformation. But thanks for that comment, James. It was very valid. But a lot of them now are putting the content grabber, if you like, recording the actual session outside of the meeting room, which is great. Because not that you should, but it now allows you to record in secret. That you and I'm just going to say, by the way, you should be saying if you're recording a meeting, you are recording it. Everyone's aware of that. But of course, you might be just doing it for personal note-taking purposes, and now you can just record outside the meeting. Mm-hmm. No one needs to know. But I would always, of course, the caveat is tell people you are recording it, because that's the right thing to do, and that's only fair. Right,
It is.
Maggie,
Yeah.
let's move on. We've got our special guest sitting quietly in the green room backstage, ready to come on and talk to us about prompting. And I've been using this particular tool now for probably about 6 or so months. And I will say it is a game changer. And you're going to see why. If you're one of these people that find prompting a little bit hard to get your head around, how do I write a prompt? How much detail do I need to put in? What do I need to say? What's going to get the best outputs, the best results? Then this is a tool that's going to help you. I'm not saying it's there to replace you, because I'm going to just talk about the 20-60-20 rule, which I will repeat. 20% of what you do should be the human. That's you, your creativity, your knowledge, your experience. 60% is the heavy lifting piece done by the tool, the AI tool. And then the final 20% is the human, taking everything the tool's done and created, and you sanitizing it and make sure it's correct and usable. And this is where tools are useful. And this particular tool, which we're going to find out about now, is one of those tools. 20% of you coming up with the ideas, 60% of it giving you the assistance, 20% of you then kind of taking what it generated and implementing as well. So let's give, without further ado, a very big warm welcome to Eli from Pretty Prompt. Good morning, Eli.
Hey, David, Maggie. So great to be here. I'm so excited about this workshop. I've been like waiting the whole week for this to happen. We spoke about it last week, so really excited to be here with you guys. Thank you, everybody. I hope that you are watching, if you're live with us, wherever you are, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you are in social media, and maybe you're not in the UK like I'm right now. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you're in the world. Now with the World Cup, everybody's like waking up at weird times on the day, watching, not sleeping. So we are all kind of like in a very special time of the year. Excited to be here. So prompting, and what is Pretty Prompt? So Pretty Prompt is the easiest way to describe it is an assistant that lives inside the AI tool. So this is your ChatGPT, your Claude, your Gemini, your Lovable, etc. Where you are prompting, it lives inside those tools as a Chrome extension. And with one button, it helps you do the 60% of the job of writing the prompt for you. Now, it doesn't come up with what to write. It's still your job to give the start of the car. You still start the car then does the job to warm up and do all the kind of like things that needs to do behind the scenes with the prompting, and then you then can tweak the little elements to make sure that it's right for your use case. It's like Grammarly, if anybody has used here Grammarly talking about AI tools, that it was one of the first ones like over 10 years ago that helps you rewrite your grammar, but for prompting, because it's not the same how we talk to a human than how we talk to an AI. AI, in the end of the day, the only thing that it can do is predict the next letter. So it's all the time trying to predict what is the most correct next letter, word, phrase based on what you're writing. And yes, it looks like magic. I know, I've been there. It happens every day. There's a new tool out there. We're all like, oh my God, this is going to change the world. And it's true, but it is up to us to go through that and to make sure that we are using it in the right moments of our business. We all run SMEs, and I think that we all share that the same pains, the same questions, the same wants, and AI is a great answer to those. But again, it's our job, again, the last 20 here, to go through that and to understand what from what it's giving us, what from that prediction of the next word is the right one from us. So prompting, before I go on to show you what Pretty Prompt does, I'm not here to do a talking class. I'm here to do a demo, and I really want to show you. They told me once, show, don't tell. I'm going to show. So I want to tell you prompting. The most important thing with prompting is to give context and to reduce the ambiguity. Because if we do a better job of helping the AI predict the next word for us, then we are giving the resources and the tools to that AI to do a better job for us. So it's just like having an employee that you need to give the resources so that that person knows what to do with the business. It's exactly the same with AI. It's another employee, it's another layer of help that is going to help us do a few things. So I'm going to move you guys here, and I'm going to share my screen. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, there is this little button here. That is Pretty Prompt. I am right now live sharing my screen. So whatever you're going to see, whether it works or it doesn't work, is live. So this is the beauty of being on a live stream. And my wife is watching, so this makes me even more nervous. So hopefully I'm going to do a good job. She will tell me. So let's just try something simple, like help me write a marketing plan. So this prompt is something that probably a lot of us have written before, something like this, a short, quick fire prompt that goes into the AI. It lacks a lot of context. And what I just did is just press this little button of Pretty Prompt, the little star, and Pretty Prompt in just under 5 seconds rewrote all my prompt into this really comprehensive instruction, which is what the AI needs. It needs to know the role. What is the type of role that needs to take to be able to do that action? What is the task that we are asking? What is the context that we're giving it? As you can see, there is an assumption because we haven't given who is this marketing plan for. And it has all the output format, the constraints, and the validation checklist. I'll show you what I wrote original. It was just this. It was really, really lack of context in terms of as a prompt. I'm Pretty Prompt, just rewrote it in all of this just with one button. I apply it and I can continue doing the job. Now, it didn't take me out of the scene from thinking what I should be asking. It didn't take me out of the scene from tweaking and adding the right information to get that marketing plan ready. It did the job of writing it. Who knows how to write a good prompt? This keeps changing every day. And every platform keeps asking you something different. This is the truth. We all use different tools. I heard Notion, I heard ChatGPT, I heard Gemini, I heard Claude, I heard all of them. Lovable. So all of them have a different purpose. I'll show you something else. Let's create an SEO plan for a customer. Imagine that you have an agency or you are doing SEO plans for your customers. So you can very, very well improve this, and you can see it will do again all the job that needs to do. Or you can refine it, and Pretty Prompt will ask you further questions to be able to not just guess, but give you the right information for that prompt. So maybe we're working with an e-commerce company. And what is the goal of that SEO plan? Remember, I didn't say anything about it. So maybe the goal is to boost brand authority. And maybe is based in the UK. So now it took all of that and it will use that as context. And you can see it says e-commerce, United Kingdom, etc. And of course, if we want to modify that, we can do a follow-up and just add something here. Otherwise, 90% of the way is ready and I can just apply it and move on. It's super powerful because I'm taking 5 seconds in something that I will have taken like 10 minutes of back and forth with the AI. And now I forgot to ask you this and I forgot to ask you that other thing. And the beauty is that as we all do, we all work with different tools. Pretty Prompt just sits on top of all of them and doesn't replace me, doesn't depend on which tool I want to do. It doesn't lock you inside a tool. And I can promise you in the next 10 years, there will be plenty more AI tools that will come out there. So we should have a way to very quickly swap between all of them without losing what we want to ask and without losing the opportunity to get the best response. I'll go to Gemini. Let's do something like help me create an image for a Google ad. Given that we are in Gemini, Gemini is Google. So Pretty Prompt does something really clever behind the scenes, and it adapts the type of prompt for a type of request. It's not the same to ask for a business plan than to ask for a marketing plan, than to ask for a presentation for a customer, than to ask for an image, for a video, etc. Each of these have a different format, have different things that we need to ask. So in this case, for example, it's telling you that the image needs to be formatted in a special ratio. It's for landscape displays. Of course, we can change this, but it's adding all these different little bits of information without you having to think, what do I need to ask to get what I want to get out of the AI? And that's where Pretty Prompt comes in. It doesn't replace you, your thinking, your creativity. It just adds this little spice on top. It's like, it's like the salt and pepper of your food, by the way, which you would never not use it when you're cooking. But it's that salt and pepper of your prompt, so that you don't need to think how to do it. So for example, maybe we don't want to do it for landscape. We want to do it for mobile. So make it for mobile aspect ratio. And I just send that follow-up, and Pretty Prompt takes that now into account. And by the way, this doesn't consume any credits, tokens, or usage of the platform behind. We take the gamble, we take the job as Pretty Prompt, we do all of that. Now you can see it's formatted, suitable for mobile vertical, and I can send that off and continue working. Now, I'm not going to lie. This is not going to take the job of asking something to Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT. It's just going to reduce the time from what you ask to what you want to get out of it. Again, it's not a replacement, it's an accelerator. And I'm really, really bullish and really believe that the more we can help all of us business owners accelerate our business without taking us out of the scene, that's the type of tools that we need to be using to be able to accelerate the business. I'll show you one more thing. Imagine that I want to create a landing page for a webinar, given that we are here in a webinar. And I'm here now using Lovable. I showed you ChatGPT, I showed you Gemini. I'll show you how we can actually use Pretty Prompt to create a landing page, which is where actually prompting is 10 times more important, because not only it's more expensive in terms of tokens, but also it requires a lot more technical language than just creating maybe a marketing plan or a presentation or whatever else. So Pretty Prompt takes what we are doing and adds stuff like the aesthetic that we want to do. So maybe we want to do glass formation. I don't even know what it means, by the way, but you can also search what is the style. Pretty Prompt is really, really thorough at giving you the specific words they want. Bold typography. Maybe I want it to be all italics. I don't know. I'm just like playing around with this. It gives you what the page needs to include: a hero section, a call to action button, a speaker profile card. Don't forget that we're talking about a webinar. It's really, really clever at understanding what we are doing. And if I want to go even further, I can save my context into Pretty Prompt. And with one click, I can, for example, talk about what is Pretty Prompt and make it more specific for me. So now the prompt not only gives me the specificity for the action I want, but also talks about what am I hosting a webinar about or a website about. And you save all the versions so that you can always go back with one click without losing your work. And it's really, really powerful. Again, you just apply it and then you move on. And it's not needed to know any technical terms. And that's the beauty. We are putting down to earth. We are all busy running businesses. How to get the best out of AI without having to worry about it. One more thing that is really powerful, David, Maggie, that I think maybe others will also benefit. And by the way, I'm reading here on the side the comments, so I will jump to the comments 1 second. I'm running through my own, agenda so that I don't forget anything, and then we can run into the comments. So I haven't forgotten you guys. Please do write there. I also wanted to ask if anybody has any prompt that you want me to test live. I will take the challenge to show you that it works, even with something I haven't prepared before. So please do write on the chat if anybody has any task, action, something that you repetitively do, a workflow. Write it down, even if it's not, don't worry about good or bad prompt. Just write down the action. I'll copy and paste that into ChatGPT or Claude, and we'll use Pretty Prompt to review it. But one more thing, you can use Pretty Prompt in the browser. Like you can see this Chrome extension that once it's installed works on any of the AIs. Or you can use it on the website. So maybe some folks don't use Chrome. That's all good. The website works anywhere and it works the same way. And you can also save your prompts for later use. By saving your prompts for later use, you're moving from what Maggie was talking about, using AI to a workflow, So you are now able to repetitively use the same prompts to be able to get the same results over and over again. So the way that it works is rather than pressing the first button, you press the third button called the prompt library. And the beauty of the prompt library is that, first of all, we give you over 300 battle-tested prompts, anything from like presentations to vibe coding to marketing to business strategy, etc. You can have your team access the same prompts as you, or you can have them private. And I can now go and apply any of these prompts that I've written myself with examples of how I want to write them down. And whether I'm in ChatGPT or Claude, look, I will show you. I will show you how this is. Here we go. Boom. It also works here. Or Gemini. Look at how amazing this is. I just press a button on any of those and it pulls my saved prompts in the way I want it to do. So this is where we move from just improving a one-off prompt to saving my all the time use prompts, my favorite prompts, to repetitively copy and paste the same workflow. Again, the use cases are infinite. Like everybody has different use cases. So excited to hear what you think. David, Maggie, let's bring you guys here so we can talk a little bit and we can hear what are the comments from everybody.
Yeah, Eli, brilliant. Great to see it in action, and hopefully, I know it's been a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but gives people a pretty good overview of what it can do. And I say I've been using it for about 6 months or so, and then I reached out to you guys because I'm talking about it in various workshops and recommending that people look at prompting. One of the ones I love, obviously the generation and the redefining. That's great, but the library is so useful because when I come up with a prompt, and I think when you nail that prompt, it might be 3 or 4 prompts down, you go, that's the one. I then just add it to my library and then I've got it there for next time. But the public prompts as well that are available, that's also awesome because you have a search through that and someone's done the hard work for you. So exactly. Now we're talking maybe 20-60-20, but we're adding a little bit more flavor at the front because we're getting the prompt predefined for us.
Exactly. And maybe you take something that you like and that has a different type of, it's the same task like answering an email for a customer, but what it changes is which customer is it. But you always want it to answer in the same way. So great, you save it. So say that I can save this to my library. It's saved. And then the only thing that I need to do is to pull it and change the information about what customer is about. So then I go here and I can say, the customer is called, blah, 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 blah. So it's really, really powerful. I think it's really important to also have a look at the different library prompts that we worked and we battle tested and like spent hours writing these prompts and asking AI if it was good or if it was not good and for what use case. So we did that homework. And you can always copy it and then modify it for yourself and then save it in your own library. It's completely private. No one sees it. It's all good. So, yeah, it's really, really powerful.
Yeah. Questions?
Yeah.
Kate's put a question. I quite like this question. I always think prompt writing is like an old-fashioned exam question. The question with context include ABC, exclude X, Y, Z, give answer as 1, 2, 3, table 4, para. Yeah. And what I think you're kind of getting there too, Kate, it can be. You've got to think a little bit old-fashioned, but the idea of Pretty Prompt is to make it simple. It's not like that exam question you've just explained, and it's kind of like, boom. What do I do? Where do I start? What do I say? What looks good? What will work? The trial and error has been reduced dramatically. And I think that's the power of this. The amount of time it saves is immense. And I think you said, Eli, that this is not a 100%, fix. This is a tool to assist. This is to guide you.
Correct.
It's to help you. It's to get that creative juices flowing when you need them. It's to get the prompt more detailed and more accurate when you require it.
Correct. And that's why we call it improve results in one click. It's not that it saves your life. It's helping you to get there faster. I always call it is the 90% taking you there. It's never going to take you to the finish line also is not going to ChatGPT. Sometimes gives you the answers that are a little bit like, you know what, I feel that that's a little bit too AI. So it happens all the time. So it's our job to, again, use our cognitive mind, exactly, to our human element. In the end of the day, people buy from people, and it's really important that people are in the scene. So maybe we will not do all the tasks by hand, and that's completely fine. It would be fool for me to just do it by hand when I have a tool that helps me write better, remember my notes from the call, write better, add copy, or create a better presentation. But it's my responsibility still as a business owner, given that we are talking here in terms of SMEs, to go through it and that is accurate for what I want to do. It's not the AI's job. The AI's job is to do the job. My job is to make sure it's right for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There's a challenge for you, Eli. Simranjit, I think that's probably how I'll pronounce that. Looks like he's giving you a test here. I don't know if you can copy and paste that out the chat, make it easier, or type it out. But
yeah, I'm just typing it out. So like I need to track conversations with 50 investors. That's a difficult one, by the way. I think this is going to be not just one prompt, but it's going to be the workflow side of things. But we'll play the game, given that I gave the game and now I have to do it. So I need to track conversations with 50 investors, names, I don't know, insights, etc. Help me build a system that will track this for me. Okay, so I think what Pretty Pro will do this is going to create it's going to create a CRM style, because that's kind of like what you're saying. It's like a CRM, but rather than being customers, it's going to be investors. And what we're going to do is, you probably then want to say, plug in my call recorder, Otter, let's say. So maybe that's kind of like how I would do it. I would plug in my call recorder so that it pulls automatically through the API. And by the way, you don't need to know what an API is. You give it to the AI will figure that out, but you need to give it the instruction. Again, Pretty Prompt is doing that kind of like figure out what you need to give. And then that's it. Maybe you want to connect Notion, connect Notion to keep my notes saved, maybe. So that's it. Then you have your system. So you build a system that keeps track of the notes that come from Otter, and that it plugs into your Notion or your Word doc or whatever you want to be able to keep those notes to hand and then have it ready to talk to those 50 investors. And by the way, good luck. 50 investors is not an easy task. So that sounds pretty good.
Exactly. There you go. Challenge accepted.
One thing that we're increasingly seeing is the importance of asking AI the difficult questions, because I think that's the best way of training and getting the most of AI, especially from your business context. Of course, sometimes it is simple ones, but this one, for instance, is a good example of what a difficult question is. And so then you helping the AI to move from its default patterns to think differently. And then, of course, if you tell it your goal, what you'd like to achieve with this type of insight that you're looking for, it makes it even better. So yeah, that's an interesting one.
I agree, Maggie. I was just saying it's an interesting one. It's a difficult one. And I was going to say, you may not always use all the prompt of Pretty Prompt, like you also may not use everything that ChatGPT or Gemini gives you. But I can promise you that what people love the most about this is the fact that they learn also how to think and how to structure, because it's systematically breaking down things into steps, which is actually how machines work behind the scenes. Now they are putting it into words for us to also to learn about.
Yeah,
and I saw you were acting on Ian's will Pretty Prompt help source list of specific industry contacts. You already typed it in and then you prompted it, and it generated the output there as well. So hopefully, Ian, that's kind of it's answered your question. And of course, then you'd run that prompt, and that's what's then going to start to make ChatGPT go off and do the research, or whatever language model you're using, of course, because you might find one of the others could be better for this particular role, of course. But great, Ian. Thank you for that question there as well. And Debbie put, I try and give prompts so much detail and it seems to work well. And that's exactly what Pretty Prompt's doing, isn't it? It's really just helping create that content, that detail, giving that granular information to output better outputs.
Exactly. And the easiest way to think about this is like my co-founder calls it context up and ambiguity down. That's it. If you do that repetitively every single prompt, you will get better results because that's how the models are trained, by the way.
And a quick shout out to your co-founder, Charlie, as well. I don't know if he's watching or he's out busy.
He's watching and he's building the product always. So big shout out. We wouldn't have a Pretty Prompt without Charlie. So very grateful to have him together.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. Good to know you're here listening in the background. Eli, let's just talk about how people can get started with Pretty Prompts. Obviously, there is an option here where people can go and try and test it, but we've got, as all good, sponsors and friends have, we've got an offer for those that not are just joining us here today, because this is going to stay out there in the live stream. People can access it off the back of this webinar. Tell us what they can do and how they access it. So what's the special offer you've got for everybody listening and watching and today?
We've got something pretty cool, and it is a $1 for 1 month for the pro version that you can use it as a trial. You can cancel whenever. This is usually $12.99, by the way, so you're essentially taking off like 99% of the cost out. And again, this webinar is a free webinar. We're trying to give back to other businesses. We're trying to learn from other businesses, and the better. The closer we can be to other businesses, the better product we will be able to build, because we will also learn from our customers. So that we are giving this offer, which is just for this webinar. I've actually put together a page just for this that you can see here by going through the link that is now in the chat, or by typing the link that we have on the screen. And you will see that we have a light version, which is $5.99, that gives you a capped. But actually, the pro version is $1 for the first month. You don't need to do anything. You just click there, you go to the checkout, and that's it. There's nothing to do. Pretty Prompt then lives on your browser, as I was showing you on the screen. And the beauty is that you don't get a support person if you have an issue, or some AI assistant that will answer you. You get access to myself and Charlie, my co-founder, that we are holding your hands for everything that you need, answering any questions. So the offer is $1 for 1 month on the pro plan of Pretty Prompt. Is pretty amazing. We have over 40,000 users from all around the world using this. We've improved nearly, if not more already now, I haven't seen the last time, 1 million prompts in all sorts of the platforms, in all sorts of use cases. So Pretty Prompt is used and loved all around the world. And it's pretty exciting to share it here also with other SMEs. So yeah, try it out. The offer is there, and you'll get the link also post webinar. So $1 for 1 month offer, and we are trying to essentially give it away.
Yeah, it's an absolute bargain. So I've been using it for 6 months, and for me, it's really helped. And even though I thought I prompted pretty well, I realized
I'm sure you do, David. I'm sure you do.
I do now. With a push of a button, I prompt really well. But prior to that, I was probably doing what everyone else does, just writing what I thought was the right thing or what come to mind. And what it has really done is just helped me. So I would recommend to everybody, give it a go. As you say, it's $1 for a month. You can cancel at any time. You're not, told to stay with it. You're not signing your life away or anything like that. That's not the way I like to work. And I know Eli and Charlie don't work that way either. So give it a go. I guarantee it will help you, and hopefully you stick with it, because you'll find it so useful. You'll carry on using it thereafter. Eli, thank you so much for joining us here. Really great demo to see how it all works. I know you're going to probably sit backstage and listen, and if you are around when we come to kind of finishing today, we'll welcome you back on for a grand finale. But we'll let you probably catch up on a few emails and a little bit of prompting in the interim as well.
Thanks so much, guys. Yeah? Exactly. Yeah, I'll go to finish some stuff. I'll be in the background, so I'll see you later on. Any questions, drop them in the chat. And thanks for the opportunity. I'll see you very soon.
Thank you very much, Eli.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you to Pretty Prompt.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Pretty Prompt, our sponsors and partners today as well. Maggie, we're going to take a hydration break, but that doesn't mean we're going anywhere. Unfortunately, we're just hydrating while we're sitting here. But those that want to take a quick leg stretch, this is the perfect opportunity to stretch your legs, top up your coffee cups, and then come back within the next sort of 5 or 10 minutes, where we're going to continue sharing lots of other exciting stuff and kind of, well, hopefully getting people AI ready if they're not already. And lots of us are using AI tools as we speak today. We use them in lots of different ways. I'm intrigued and interested to know what people are doing with them. So if you are sitting here with us, pop into the comments. Tell us how you are using them. I'm sure lots of you use them for content creating, marketing, and stuff like that. That does seem to be the go-to. But is anyone doing anything different with it? Anyone creating any applications? Is anyone out there, doing something weird, wacky, and wonderful? Because I'd love to know what you're up to. And if you've got any links you want to share, maybe to something you've created, pop it in the chat. We're sharing it with the world here today as well. Maggie, over to you.
Yeah.
This is our 10-minute ad break for us to kind of, I don't know, decipher, unbundle, kind of what's happening in the world of AI. I asked you at the beginning what you're seeing out there. What's the noise that's happening? And I'd say noise because there's so much going on. It's hard to kind of read through all the content. But what are you finding exciting, and what's standing out to you?
I think one of the exciting things is how the world of sales is changing with AI. And so, for instance, how we used to prospect has changed dramatically. And over the last at least a couple of months, the amount of solutions that I have seen that are about being able to look for leads, but not just for leads, but looking at buyer intent is such a powerful thing now. You don't just have a qualified lead because they fit your ideal customer profile anymore, or they fit your target audience, or you want to add them to your CRM, your prospect list, or you want to go and meet them at an event. It's about honing in specifically to buyer intent signals, right? Previously, we used to write, like cadence messages, to go to people. And one of those was to do your research and see if they've just won an award. They've just, been given some funding and they're ready to spend and expand or whatever. But now the buyer intent signals are honing in specifically. And that's very, very fascinating. And, you might, if you're an SME, you might say, oh, how does that apply to me? But I think, like I said before, AI is leveling the playing field for everyone. And so it gives smaller businesses the opportunity to behave like the big guys or the big ladies. So that's what we're looking at now. The world of sales is changing. Previously, you go to a meeting and then you come back and you try to analyze what went on in the conversation and what's missing and all of those. We do have some AI sales coaches that you just feed your meeting notes into it and they analyze it for you and they talk you through it and they go, okay, so this is what your next move could be. This is what you missed in your sales process. This is how you go and plug in that in order to resurrect that conversation or in order to move it to the next, mutually aligned step. So it's fascinating. That again, staying there takes you to the world of training, whereas, training used to be delivering it to a group of people, different levels of abilities or knowledge. Now, the world of AI has opened up adaptive learning. And so, for instance, a manager could say, this is the problem that Charlie is having, with regards to this area of the business or with regards to the sales process or satisfaction and activity, then the AI will. Did I freeze for a minute, or am I okay?
You're still here, yeah.
Yeah, the AI will actually then give you a training curriculum in terms of, okay, so this is what they need to work on in order to bring their productivity levels to this side, and then sometimes if it's something that needs to go across a one organization, then you then apply this in training to this particular department. So yeah, things like moving and changing very quickly. So that's one thing I wanted to throw in the bucket here.
Yeah, and they are moving very quickly, and I quite often get asked, or I raise in the room when we're doing in-person stuff as well as online, look, AI is taking jobs. We shouldn't shy away from that. It is changing the way we work, the way we process data, the way we connect the dots and stuff like that. And AI is taking jobs. Typically, we're seeing a lot of jobs in the tech world being attacked at the moment. So the big companies like Meta and Oracle, Spotify, they're all making various changes and cuts and alterations. Even the creators of AI, OpenAI and stuff like that, are always changing. And that's going to kind of ripple down into, let's talk back to small businesses, because a lot of our guests here today, our delegates, are small business owners. This is a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because it's going to allow us to be on that playing field, compete with everybody else, because we're going to be able to use the same tools at affordable prices. It's going to allow us to generate good quality content. Obviously, don't forget the 20-60-20. So it's all about the AI, about the human interaction and engagement as well. And on the sad side, yeah, it's going to replace jobs. I feel for people that are copywriters, and if you are a copywriter and you're joining us here today, challenge me on it. But copywriters are affected. I know copywriters that had lots and lots of clients, and now they've got hardly any, if any, clients, because we know that these tools can write copy extremely well. People always challenge me and say, yeah, but it's not you. We can know it's AI. Well, I'm going to get rid of that problem in a little while when we come back after the hydration break. I'm going to show you how you can turn your AI into being more like you. So it sounds like you, acts like you. It has that kind of, similar content output to, if you were writing or creating content. So I do think the world is changing. We are going to see a loss of jobs. We are going to see a creation of new jobs. And we're also going to see lots of challenges that couldn't be solved become solved as well by using these tools. And we're seeing that a lot in the healthcare industry, a lot in science and medtech and stuff like that as well. And yeah, it probably will solve our climate challenge as well. As much as it's hungry for climate, it's using lots of water and lots of energy and stuff like that. I think these tools are only going to give us the ability to be more environmentally friendly, to speed things up and use less energy. And we're seeing it now with potential projects of running data centers in space and stuff like that. So it's exciting times.
And the tokenization. Yeah, and the token usage conversation as well. But coming back to AI taking the jobs, I come into this conversation almost every week. I gave the example of one of our clients who we saved the equivalent of 3 to 4 employees every single month, right? So where do these people go? I think what we're failing sometimes to realize is that the jobs that we now need to perform are changing. The jobs look like this. We need to become more human in order to work with machines, in order to get the outcomes we're looking for. And so on one hand, it looks like, yes, the jobs are going away. Yes, the old jobs, some of them will go away, but what are the new jobs? And as people, how can we develop the skills that allows us to match the new jobs that are needed? A lot of the conversations that, for instance, Eli was having with Pretty Prompt is a very good example of how humans and machines learn together, right? The machine thinks differently, the human thinks differently. How do we train them together? And that's a good example of training the human and machine in such a way that they work together for the best output. So it's about looking at those angles as well. But yeah, very fascinating, and who knows?
Yeah. I mean, tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow there'll be something new, something more shiny, something bigger and better. That's the world of technology. One of my favorite quotations is the pace of change has never been this fast, and it will never be this slow.
100%, I agree.
You know, we are moving forwards at such a rapid pace. And for me, coming from a technology background, I find it super exciting because you never know what problems we're going to solve tomorrow. But let's not take the human out of it.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to pick up on a couple of questions, and then we're going to get back into the main effects. I think we're coming to the end of our hydration break for those that have been off for a tea and a coffee. But
there's
this is
one
quite
I wanted to talk about. Oh, that's the one you've pulled up. Is it? No, it's different. But yeah, there's one by Sharon Butler-Felby. Oh yeah, it's probably the same one.
Yeah. How is copying images used on social media and websites created by AI affecting my reach? For SEO, for example, I've noticed a new logo on LinkedIn which displays things generated by AI. It makes them feel like the content is less important in some way and less effort. Sharon, this is a great question. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you something in a moment. I'm actually going to do a quick demo because I think this is going to be the easiest way to show you how to fix this potential problem. In honesty, I can't tell you. I'm not an SEO expert, and maybe there is someone out there or AEO expert. It could be, and I don't know the algorithms behind all the various platforms such as LinkedIn and how they're, grading social media content. But we do hear the word AI slop, and that's not going to be doing anyone any good. If you're putting out lots of rubbish, then there's a good chance that will, through the algorithms, probably drop you down the picking list towards the bottom. But one of the things that I would say to you, you're right, when you generate images, and let's just say if you generate an image on Gemini, it puts the Gemini logo in the bottom corner. So when you generate an image, out comes an image, which I can show you with a logo, a watermark logo in that. Now, what you can do, in theory, you could take that image into Canva and crop that logo out or put something over the top of it. However, because the metadata in the image that's generated still links back to ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever platform you're using, when you load it into something like LinkedIn, LinkedIn sees that and then basically puts a CR mark over it, which basically means it's content created by an AI. So how do we get around that? Well, I can show you, but very quickly, I can just tell you, create your image, save it on your computer, whatever, regardless of what platform you're using, and then open it. So you've got that image open and take a screenshot of it. So now what we're doing is we're taking a screenshot of that image, which then takes out all the metadata data. So when you actually put it into LinkedIn, it doesn't see it as a AI generated piece of content because it can't see that, because it can't read the background metadata. And that works. I've tested it, tried it and demoed it, and it works extremely well. So that helps obviously alleviate the potential that in speech marks, this is AI created content. LinkedIn wouldn't know that because it can't detect it. So that's one way around it. I'll do a demo in a second because it takes a moment to show. But it's a great question. Anything you want to mention on that, Maggie? Anything you know about the algorithms and SEO and what happens behind the scenes?
Sharon. Yeah, so there's another question by Sharon, the one about not wanting to, well, I'll just read it. I currently use generative AI to brainstorm and create content, but I'm worried about reach and SEO as I believe this content will be marked down. So again, similar to the picture conversation, but here is the thing, Sharon, back to the conversation that I was having with regards to, what's happening, the roles that are coming up and the roles that are fading out. So SEO will still be there. SEO is going to be working alongside what we're calling AEO, so the answering engine optimization, and the GEO. So what is happening at the moment is when people ask questions, whereas previously it was based on keywords for SEOs, Now people are asking questions the way they will ask ChatGPT and the other LLMs, which means that the way that these questions are being picked up, you will now see that a lot of the Gemini or the answering engine optimization questions are coming on top of Google, for instance, before the other answers come up. And so it's a case of doing both. Do you have questions that speak directly to AEO and GEO in addition to your keywords? Because if you do, then that way both will be picked up. And yeah, I think, the way we used to look at copying and pasting content and being marked down because of SEO is changing. It's a case of who is going to find this content. How are they looking to find this content? What questions are they asking? And do you have those kinds of formats in the content that you're putting on? And so it's a combination of the keywords plus kind of question formats that are picked up by the answering engines. I hope this helps, but please feel free to pop it in the chat. Let us know if this is useful.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Maggie. And Natalie, I just added in here, it's important to ensure you're coming up in AI results, and some of that comes down to the right markup, which is kind of what you were just talking about there, Maggie. So picked up on that. And Natalie's also then just fed back in here, but Google needs the right markup too. It's not much of a change, even with SEO previously, it was about answering questions. And yeah, absolutely. Making sure you've got FAQs on various pages, certainly your service pages, is really, really important. And these are the things, your web designer or web, company creators can help you with, making sure, hopefully they've got their eyes and ears on the content and making sure it's doing its best for you. Okay. Hydration break is now officially finished. Hopefully everyone's back here with us. So what I want to do is I want to jump in and share a couple of useful takeaways for you to implement today. And I will share my screen in a moment. But I did ask this question earlier on. If you had an AI system that could solve one problem in your business, what would it be? And there were some suggestions that come up. It's a question I like to ask because it gets the creative thought process flowing. But I always find that people say, look, AI is good, but it doesn't sound like me. It doesn't kind of act like me. And that's because I always say you haven't trained it. And I've been using my AI tools like yourself, Maggie, and many others for quite a while now. And it's got a lot of context about me. It's got a lot of content about me and about the projects and the things that I do, and, about me, my business, my background, my journey. It's connected to various resources and sources. And this is really important because this is going to help. But what I've got here, and I'm just going to pop this onto the screen here. I'm going to share the link in the chat in a moment. But I've built out a AI persona, which I'm going to share with you. You can all use it. It's free to use, free forever and a day. And you can go back in onto this as well and always go back in and redevelop it. So basically the way it works, there's 5 simple steps that you're going to do. Now, I'll share the link in a moment. I would suggest you do this after we finish today's event, after the webinar, because you're going to need just a little bit of thought time. But it's very simple and easy to do. The instructions are here on the first page. Once you click through, you're then going to be able to, let me just click on here. You're then going to be able to build it out in 5 simple steps. Now you can see mine is already completed because I've kept it in here just to run through it rather than me typing in all the details. I've already kind of pre-filled this. This is at the end of this. When you create your persona, by the way, you can save it, which means you can go back in the tool at any time and reload it in and make any changes or alterations. So you're going to just fill this in. Quite straightforward, quite simple. Nothing too strategic here. Just follow through the prompts. When you get to this page and the next few pages, it's simple just to choose and tick the boxes that you primarily want to speak about. And you can add some of your own custom ones if you wish to do so. So if they're not in the predefined subject matters, you can add any or as many as you wish to do. So, if you want to talk in engineering, okay, you can simply add engineering into that and prompt it in there, and that will be fine. So you can just pop that in there and carry on. You can go down and obviously tick the next box where what should AI help you achieve? So set some outcomes, some goals and stuff like that. It's going to flick through to the next page. Again, just by answering the questions, okay, which words best describe your brand voice? So this is where you're going to take a little bit of time just thinking about these, clicking through them, adding them, updating them, and changing them, okay? So you can select up to 4 in here, okay? So you just pick the 4 that are going to be more like your personal brand voice. Now you can set kind of, how formal you want it to be. If you want to be coming across an expert, if you want it in depth, if you're a warm type of person, you want to bring high energy to it or low energy, you can obviously change those scroll bars as well. And all the time while you're doing this, if you look on the right hand side, you can see this area is adapting and building out your calibration. Keep going down. How should I use these AI tools to communicate? Okay, so again, this is just building this out. Just click the buttons that you want it to be. You can have select as many or as few as you like here. Click next. We come almost to the final screen. So language rules. Now, this is an important one. British English. If you want to lose kind of those Americanisms and Zs rather than S's and stuff like that, and what I would call misspelled words that the Americans would say are correctly spelt, something like colour. Obviously, we like the U's and they don't. You could choose the British English language, but if you do want American English, you can keep that, and Australian, or you can choose from a list of others as well. Choose the type of grammar that you want to utilize. Okay, this is obviously personal to you. What words or phrases or terminology should AI use regularly? So use this. Now think about the way you talk, the way you would have that, way you would type. If there's set words that you use quite regularly, then feed them into here. Okay, so if there's things that you want to include them. If that's your kind of tone of voice. But more importantly, if there's words that you do not want to include, which you would never say, it would not sound like you, now this is where you need to pop those in and put some of those negative words in there. And then finally, you're just coming down to this last bit. We're just talking about some of the kind of communication values that you add. Again, just tick the boxes for the ones that you want or add some of your own. Now, once you've done that, you click to the final page. Load it and save it automatically for you to your documents folder on your laptop. That means you can load it back in at any time without having to go through all those various tick box exercises, adding all that content. So you might have multiple personas, by the way. You might have a business persona for a particular business. You might have a second business or a personal life. So you can create multiple personas. So go through, do one first, then load it back in and go through it and alter it accordingly. Now, this is the bit we want you to do. It's this part here where we want to output. There's various output options here. The easiest one is basically to just kind of download this. If you want to keep a downloaded version on your computer, you can just download it in plain text, which will load in a notebook or Word or something similar. But I like this one. This is the easiest one. And all you're going to do is you're going to click copy system prompts. And that's now copied it. And then what you're going to do is you can go, depending on the platform, I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Okay, and I'm just going to put into the prompt here. I don't need to use pretty prompt to do this because it's very straightforward, but I'm just going to basically include the prompt. And I'm going to say, use this AI persona. Okay, and it doesn't have to be exactly these words. Use this AI persona when creating content about me, okay, or whatever you want it to do. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in that. And here is what I've just created, okay, which you just saw me go through, and it's outputted it into this structured prompt, okay, run it all the way down. It's everything I just answered. And now I can upload that by just obviously sending that prompt in. That's one way of doing it. The other way is you can go in and actually go into your settings and into your personalization, which allows you then to kind of actually personalize, and you can actually put it into these boxes here. So where you can fill in more about you, etc. You can load that in there, and that will also do exactly the same way. So it just depends on how you want to structure it. Quick and easy, just pop it into the prompt. You can do that into Google Gemini, into ChatGPT, into Perplexity, into Claude, whatever platform you're using. And what this is going to now do when you're writing content, it's going to sound a little bit more like you and act a little bit like you. If you want a different persona, maybe for different projects that you're working on, okay, so in ChatGPT, they're called projects. What you will be able to do is you go into a project and then you'll be able to actually define that project. So if I click on here, okay, as you can see that there's already a persona into this one here. Okay, so I can actually load that persona, a particular persona, into that particular project as well, which means when I'm working in that project folder, it will give that output. So benefit of that, if you're writing or working on behalf of a client or a customer, you can create a client or customer persona, which is only going to act when you're working in that particular project folder. So that's really useful as well. You can have different personas with different voices to communicate in different ways. So one of my favorite tools, it will really help you kind of sound a little bit more like you and act like you. And what I'll do as I'm speaking now, I'll just bring that back over here, get my cursor onto the right screen. I will pop it into the chat. As I say, I would probably do it afterwards because it might need a tiny little bit of thought about putting it together. But I'm just going to pop that in there now for everybody to be able to access after today. And that's gone into the chat. I'll just pop it up on the back screen as well. So if anyone wants to create their own AI personal persona, that's the link you need to go to, aipersona.simboc.info, and you'll get to that page. I do not capture any of the data you put in there, to make that very clear. It's totally offline. There's no data. I'm not capturing any content. I'm not going to reach out to you. I'm not going to know anything about you. It is personal to you and only you, of course. So that's top tip one that I want to share. My next one is, I've got a couple here, and I'm just going to run through a couple of them. But one of my favorite ones at the moment is called Whisperflow. And I use Whisperflow on a daily basis. And if you've not seen Whisperflow, I highly recommend you look at this. Now, I will give you an affiliate link, which will give you a whole month free on the pro version. Again, you can cancel if you wish to do so. But I think you'll find once you start using something like this, how brilliant it actually is and how much time it saves and how it can really help you speed up your process. And I know Eli uses this because we were talking about this previously. But rather than typing, you can speak. Now, this doesn't sound very novel because it's been around for quite a few years. Go back many years, drag and dictate and stuff like that. But again, they've come on a long way. And what makes this a little bit different, in my personal perspective, one, it runs across all platforms. So obviously this is showing as a Mac because I'm a Mac user, but if you're a Windows user, you can also load it onto mobile devices like iOS and Google Pixel and stuff like that. And what it allows you to do is whenever you want to type, you don't need to type anymore. Just put the cursor where you want to go and speak using natural language, just like I'm speaking now, you would speak. But what the AI does behind the scenes, it takes your content and it cleans it and polishes it and structures it for you. So this is a massive time-saving opportunity. Now, the best way to do this is to demo it. So what I'm going to try and do here, because I probably should have preempted this and had my Word document open, ready to rock and roll. But let me get a Word document up, and I'm going to drop this onto the other screen because otherwise you won't see it. Okay, so you should hopefully now be seeing. Let me just close that window, and too many windows open on today. Where are we?
That's what happens when we're having fun.
Yeah. And when we're jumping around, and of course, when you're doing live demos, everything's moving around at a rapid pace as well. Right, there we go. So let me click. I'm just going to click into this Word document. Now, normally we'd sit here and type, and I can type okay, but I'm not the speediest typer in the world, of course. But what I want to be able to do is just show you how this works. So when you set this up, you can choose 2 keys on your keyboard or a key that you want to assign. And the way it works then is that I can just hold down. Now, if you probably can just see down here on this, I've got a little bar that appears, and I can click on the microphone here if I wish to do so. But by holding my 2 keys down, I can just click and speak. So here's my demo. I'm just going to waffle a little bit purposely, by the way, because I want to show you how waffling works. So let's just kick off here. So here we are today at the AI workshop hosted by myself, David Bell, and Maggie Sarfo. We are talking to a mass audience about how AI tools can speed up productivity, save time, and save money. And today we're sharing some great tools. The AI persona is one of those. But I've got a small list of things that we've been sharing, which includes Otter AI. We're going to talk about Notebook LM. We're going to talk about Whisperflow. We're going to talk about HeyGen. And of course, we've had that great introduction from Eli at Pretty Prompt. Okay, so I'm going to let go of that now. And there it is. Okay, it's now structured that for me. You can see it's created the list automatically for me. But what's very clever and very intelligent here, it has made one mistake, which I'll pick out in a minute, but it's put it all together. Now, I also use Grammarly, hence why I'm getting these red underline marks here, okay, because it wants, bear in mind, this was natural language. It has corrected some of the bits and pieces in there, but, you know, with my Grammarly in the background, it's suggesting I change that. But you can see how it's structured it. But Whisperflow, people might say, well, that's spelt wrong. No, it's not. It is spelt like that. That is their brand name. The small thing it's got, sorry, Eli, it spelt your name wrong. More probably my pronunciation than the error. But this is brilliant because not only is it great for dictating documents like Word, but wherever you can place your cursor, it could be in an email, in a subject line, it could be in a browser, it could be in your favorite AI tool. So again, if I click over here and if I was to go into, you know, something like an AI tool, it's Claude here, I can click in the box here, write me a marketing business plan that's going to help me boost my business to the next level. And again, I'm just waffling, but again, I can type that straight into there. Now, I know people say, well, I can click on the microphone here and use that. The difference is here is allowing me to structure things. This is more kind of conversational when I click into here as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving it as an example, wherever you can place your cursor, you can dictate. And that works the same on a mobile device, by the way, as a tablet or an iOS. And this toolbar then allows you to record, but also go into the actual menu and recall stuff as well if you wish as well. So it allows you to bring stuff back up that maybe you've worked on. So it has kind of its own little, if I go into here, its own little scratch pad where you can create standard notes or information that you want to pull in. But you can also have keywords that you use. So if you was to use something like my LinkedIn, it would even then put your LinkedIn address in there. So you can predefine complete forms that fill in automatically. So really, really cool tool. Highly recommend everyone looks at using Whisperflow to save time and money. The other one I want to quickly do a demo of is HeyGen, which I really like. HeyGen is a really cool tool. If you want to make a digital twin of yourself, I'd recommend going and play with HeyGen. And the way this works is that you set it up, you can upload, you can see here, I've got my own little avatar here. You can upload an image or a short video of yourself, and it will then turn you into a version of you but as a digital twin. Now, the best way for me to show this is to just quickly load this video for you. So what I'm going to do, I've got this all ready to go. This is a video that
button to share what you think. Hope you enjoy.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly zip this back. So this is me. Okay, this was a short video I recorded in my backyard. My back garden, but what you're seeing here is actually a digital version of me. So that is me, okay, but what you're hearing, what you're about to see is not me, okay? It's just taken from a short video of me and my actions. And let me just play this. Hopefully this plays quite well, but of course you'll get the video afterwards. But this is about 30, 40 seconds long, but just listen and watch. And I think it'll put a smile on your face when we're about 15 seconds in.
Hey, David Bell, your digital twin is ready. Try creating videos with it. Also, click the feedback button to share what you think. Hope you enjoy. Hola, David Bell, tu digital twin está listo. Intenta crear videos con él. Además, haz clic en el botón de comentarios para compartir lo que piensas. Espero que lo disfrutes. こんにちは、ディビッド・マーベルさん。あなたのデジタルツインが準備できました。ビデオ作成を示してみてください。また、フィードバックボタンをクリックして感想を共有してくださいね。楽しんでいただけると嬉しいです。
So there you go. Not only can I speak English, but Spanish and Japanese.
Japanese. Wow, I'm just doing that just for Japanese.
Yeah. Now, the reason I show this is, look, I'm not saying, by the way, this is a replacement to you, but it's great for creating training videos. It's great for putting together short snippets. Of course, you are the best person, by the way, to be on film, to be on camera. But if you're a little bit nervous, you create your digital twin. And then what you do is you create a script using something like ChatGPT or Gemini. You take that script of what it is that you want to say, you load it into HeyGen, you click the create button, and then it will create the output. Now, once it's created in English, you can then say, turn it into another language. So if you've got clients that you need to communicate with, if you need to put a message on your website in another language because you're broadening your horizons, then you can turn it into any language you wish. Well, I say any language. I think there's 180 different options of language models that you can use. But what you'll also see, the lip sync is pretty good. It's not 100% perfect.
Really good.
It's pretty good, but it sounds like me as well. So it actually uses my avatar voice, clones my voice as well, cloning me as a person. So really cool tool. The free version allows you to create, a limit. It does watermark it with HeyGen. That's absolutely fine. But for about $15 a month, $15, it is done in dollars, you can open it up and do a lot more with it and create more content and videos. But really useful for creating internal videos as well as external content as well. So yeah, have a play around with HeyGen. I promise you'll love it.
Really
and then
cool.
I think the last one, I'm going to kind of just showcase a little bit here, if I can squeeze two in maybe, is Comet Browser. Now, the Comet Browser is really different. So most of you will use Google Chrome, which is absolutely brilliant. My go-to, by the way, just to be very clear, is Google Chrome. But what I like about Comet, which is based on Perplexity, and I'm just going to move this across to this other screen as well, so you'll be able to hopefully see it in a second when I share the screen. But what Comet Browser is, it's a browser with AI built into it. And that, I think, is the big point I want to get across here. That's what's going to make it different and out. I'm just getting this set up, and then we'll be able to demo. It's just got caught on the edge of my screen. Come across, come on. I can't quite get to it. Live demos, you see, live demos.
I know. Oh, good. Whilst you're waiting, someone was asking, do you know how, or Emma was asking, do you know how accurate the translations are on HeyGen?
That I can't be 100% sure. I've never actually given it to someone to obviously take it the next stage.
It's a way of testing. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd imagine they're pretty accurate. But what I wouldn't want to say is, relying it on 100%. Maybe get someone to just sanitize it and check it, like anything that you would do. But I'm sure it's going to be pretty good. Or at least I'm hoping it is anyway. But it's a great question. Well worth asking. So here we go. I managed to finally drag the screen over to my second screen. So welcome here to Comet, which is built on Perplexity. So again, I'll put a link into the chat for those that are interested in a moment. But the way this works, it's like using a Google browser. So actually, don't panic about these things that I've got open here. Just like using any browser, you can close them. So let's just get rid of a couple of those. So I can open up a new tab, and I can use it like any other browser. I can type in here www and go to a particular website if I wish to do so. I can use it exactly the same. But where it gets a little bit more kind of interesting is what I can actually do is that I can start to use the AI system. And in the top right-hand corner, you can't quite see it because it's hidden behind our media assets. So we'll just get rid of that for a second. There we go. Up here, we've got this AI assistant. And this allows you to actually interact with content on the screen. So if I was to go to LinkedIn, and let me just bring that up as a page. Now we're on my LinkedIn page. And what you can see by opening this AI assistant, I can ask it to start doing similar things. So I can actually ask it to do stuff. And what it actually does, it goes into AI agent mode, and it will go off and do the research. So I'm using LinkedIn as an example, but I could ask it how many contacts, how many contacts do I have? Okay, and it will then go off. Just give it the permission to do so it can't do anything without. Now the screen's gone blue. This is hands off now, by the way. And what you'll see is actually now controlling my computer, and it's actually going off and doing its own research and looking at my contacts. So in a minute, it will come back and it will give me the information I've asked for. Now, this is just a very simple, I just wanted to show the hands-off scenario so you can see it's actually kind of doing its own thing. There you go. So I've got 7,171 contacts on LinkedIn. But what I can ask it to do, one of my really good demos, is that I can upload maybe I've been to a networking meeting. Okay. So I've gone to a business networking meeting, and it's one of these meetings, they do give you a list of people you can talk to. And I've got name, first name, last name, company name, and maybe I get an email address if I'm lucky. Now I can load that in here just like I would. So I can just upload a file. Okay. So it's just a document, a spreadsheet, etc. And then I can come to my LinkedIn, and I could basically put in here, using the attached list, go off and connect with the people that I'm not connected with, send them this message, open speech marks. Great to see you today at Business Networking event XYZ. Be great if we can connect. If I am connected with them, then do nothing or send them a message that says, great to see you again today. Hit go and it will be hands off. It will then go off and work its way through that list, whether it's 5 or 500, and it will reach out and build those connections and send those messages automatically. But it does it as a human would. So you will actually see it moving around the screen and doing the hard work for you. Meanwhile, you go off, make a cup of tea, or you work on something else. And this just runs in the background. So really cool. I'm using that as an example. Whatever you can see on the screen here in your normal browser window, you can instruct for the assistant to take control and do on your behalf. But one last thing to mention, if any of you are on YouTube, which I'm sure you all use YouTube, if you're paying for premium, then fantastic. You're paying probably about £13 a month. But if you're not, if you use the comment browser, what it does, it strips out all the adverts. So automatically, you get like the equivalent of YouTube Premium. You can watch content, no distractions, no adverts. And also, if you're reading any web page with adverts in it, like local news pages, it will also strip out all that data as well. And there's basically up here, you can turn that on and off through this ad blocker. So you can, if you do want the ads, by the way, you can turn it back on. But what's interesting is it actually does block or removes the YouTube ads for you. So, you know, for a browser that is free to use, it gives you equivalent of YouTube Premium. You don't get the other features of YouTube Premium, to be clear. So I do subscribe to YouTube Premium, as you can see, but you don't get kind of the opportunity to download and stuff like that. You're just getting the adverts pulled out of videos when you are watching it. So have a look, have a play. It's a brilliant, brilliant browser. I still use Google Chrome because there's a lot more extensions. When you set up Comet, by the way, it does, as you can see, bring across all the data and everything from your existing browser. So if you are using Chrome and you've got it set up as you like it, it imports everything, all your bookmarks, all your plugins and everything like that. So you don't have to go through and add them all manually again. So you can actually transition across to Comet fully. And also there is a mobile version available which syncs as well. So if you want to use it on a mobile device, you can do that as well. Okay. I'm going to pause there. I've got more I could share, but I just conscious of time. We're getting close to wrapping up. I want to get back to seeing what questions are coming in and things that we might be able to problem solve today, Maggie. The time is never enough, is it, when we want to try and share everything. Maggie, over to you. While I just start to put those links into the chat for everybody to get access to.
Mm-hmm. So, well, how are you using AI? And, you know, I keep talking about efficiencies. And one of the things that come to mind is how efficient you are, because even if you are paying for some of the modules that you're using, the thing is, a lot of the LLMs are not actually charging what they really want to charge. So they're still investing into it and they will be charging more, which brings in the question about how effective and efficient you are in using your models. Are you asking the same question over and over and over again? Or are you finding ways of training your AI so that it's got the answers to the most regular things that you do ask stored within your environment, and so it doesn't go and query the main LLM and use tokens each time? There are two sides to it. The first one is sustainability. And so you are helping yourself and your business money-wise and, your business sustainability-wise, but you're also helping the planet if you can reduce some of the repetitive tasks that you're doing within your LLMs. And the second thing is, if you are able to do this right, then when your pricing starts to go up in future, you could always challenge that with your providers and say, actually, I'm not using as much as you're billing me for. So those are really important. And there are technologies coming in the fore now that sits between your environment and the LLMs that you're using to really help maximize or reduce token wastage. So that's something to think about as well. It's good for your pocket. It's good for sustainability.
Yeah, and look, I hear people quite often. When you're in a room, there's always maybe one or two that are there, and I don't use AI. I don't see the benefits in it. I would say, look, the AI I said earlier will take jobs. But if you're the person that understands how to use these tools, then there's a better chance that your job is going to be safe. So if you are working with an organization, by the way, I suppose my tip is upskill yourself, get to know how to utilize
100%.
these benefits from them. If you're running a business, in my mind, it's an absolute must. Why wouldn't you want to adopt these to be more productive, to save time, to increase, revenue streams, to be more profitable? So, I think all business owners, whether you like it or not, I think you should be certainly looking at how you can benefit from these. And of course, you don't have to subscribe to everything.
No.
I spend about finger in the air, $250 to $300 per month on various tools. That's partly because I'm a technologist. I like to try, test, and play. I use pretty much all the language models that are available. There's a lot of free stuff that I use. And I'm happy, by the way, to share a list of all the things that I do use and how they benefit. I probably should create a short 20-minute video of this is the list and what they do. Maybe that's on my bucket list to create. But I just think as business owners, I know a lot of people here today are business owners. Don't think that you can get away with not using them. I think you've got to be understanding. You don't have to be an expert, okay? You just need to understand using things like Pretty Prompt to help you, using these tools to create content, using them to create images. Brilliant for creating video content. If you're a Google Gemini subscriber, highly recommend that you look at how you can use Gemini to create content. In fact, I've got this set up here. I was going to quickly share this again. So this was to put this into perspective, these are two real Lego people. Okay, so this image you're seeing on the screen here, or the original image is up here actually. So this image that you see here was actually a photo. I took the photo. It's on my desk here in front of me. A gentleman I know from a networking event. That's me, by the way, holding the phone in my hand in the grey gilet. With the grey hair, of course. On the right is my business partner, Nick Luby. He made us two Lego characters. And I loved them. They're brilliant, and we just talk about them. So I then took it into Gemini, okay? And with a very quick prompt, okay, I basically turned these into a video. This is a 10-second video, and this is what it created with one single prompt.
And a static picture. That's incredible.
So very quickly, single prompt, created a video. And you can do this for your product. If you've got a product, I'm just going to hold up a Ben and Jerry's, this is an iPod case. But if I took a photo of that and then loaded it into my Gemini, I could then animate it and turn it into a short video.
Yeah.
Just like we've got here. Again, I've got this quick video here just to give you an example. Hold on, I want to go to library instead. Where's the library? There it is. So here is a drinks bottle. Okay, created the image. So it's a static image. Imagine this is your water bottle. Okay, you're a drinks manufacturer, and very quickly put it in there, create as a video. I've gone into no detail here, by the way. I did ask it up here to create a 3D product showcase, and this is what it created.
That's incredible, because we do know how content is consumed online, and we do know for a fact that, I don't know the exact stat now, but more than 70% of content is consumed better as video than as static images. So that in its own is a really, really good tool. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. What about if you've got a logo? I mean, imagine many of you have got a static logo, but what if you want a digital logo? So again, I'm going to give you an example here. If this will come up for me, hopefully it will. Oh, hold on, wrong page. Let's go back. There we go. So this is a digital logo, okay, that was created. Well, we're a bit zoomed in there, aren't we? Let me zoom out. There we go. So I've loaded the still logo image in, and I then said turn it into an animated logo. You can see I've kind of used a pretty prompt here, act as a professional motion graphics designer. Okay, so it created the prompt for me, and this is what it created.
That saves so much time.
Okay, so now you've got an animated digital logo created very quickly as well. So just some ideas there. I'm sharing with you things that you can consider and think about, of course. But yeah, have a play with these tools. That's the way you're going to learn. Play around,
Absolutely.
try things, test things. I think you'll be surprised at what it can do.
Your idea of doing a list of useful tools is very popular in the chat. So both Kate O'Neill and Ian Smith are saying they would love to see that list.
Oh, there's the challenge, I think, set today to create a short video running through maybe 10 tools in 10 minutes. How about that? I'll create a little video and I'll put that into the channel for people to be able to access. But there's hundreds out there. There's thousands. You know, they're only going to get bigger. To wrap up, Maggie, we've got about sort of 6 minutes left on the clock. What are some of your favourite tools? What are your go-tos? You know, not day to day, but what ones do you dive into and play around with and utilise?
Go-to tools. So I use the LLMs because most of the time, either putting proposals together, pulling associate teams together for delivery, creating content for the businesses that I have. So LLMs most of the time, and I use Claude from Anthropic. I use ChatGPT. I use Gemini. Don't use Copilot that often, although I'm having a conversation.
Copilot user.
Yeah, although I'm having a conversation today about Copilot by a consultancy. So those are my main tools, and then of course there are the ones that I dive in maybe for image generation. My VA uses a lot more tools than I do because she supports with a lot of our content creation as well. But like I do all the time, just reining people back into the business. Look at your business challenges. Look at how you're growing, the profitability you're doing, and the values of your business. Then look at that question: is AI part of the solution? If so, which AI tools? And look at what you have at the moment before going for the next shiny toy, because sometimes you may be able to do a lot with what you have and then exhaust them before going for the next one. Or sometimes you may just want the next shiny toy, then go for it, but make sure it's not wasting too much of your time and you're keeping business as business. But make it work for you. AI is not going away. It's part of the solution. And if your business is to grow, you need AI on your side.
Yeah, and that's a great top tip. You do need AI on your side. I'm not going to rattle through all my tools because the list goes on and on and on. But I will just mention a couple of if I was going to share, if we had more time this morning, Notebook LM, which is part of the Google family. If you've never played with Notebook LM, go off and have a play. Honestly, it is absolutely fantastic. The benefits of Notebook LM, by the way, if you've not utilized it, you can load in various contents, whether it's PDFs, PowerPoint slides, audio files, video files, websites, YouTube videos. So it's basically you put all your content, all your resources in there, and then you can interact with that. So you create a notebook. A notebook's a project is the best way to describe it. So it could be a customer or a client. You load all that resource in there, and then you can interact with it. But it can also create slides for you, videos for you, a very fun, interactive kind of like conversation based around it could be your website, but it becomes like a podcast. So you've got two people speaking about that particular subject matter. That's really cool. If you've not tried it, go to Notebook LM, just Google it, Notebook LM, and just put your website in, nothing else. Just put your website in and create a podcast, and you'll be blown away what it generates. In about 5 or 6 minutes, you'll get about a 10 or 11 minute podcast about you and your business. Put in your LinkedIn profile, it will do the same. It will then create a podcast about you as an individual. Really cool, really fun. But seriously, you can take that content and then utilize it for various marketing purposes and stuff like that. And one of my other favorite tools that I quite often like, if anyone drives a Tesla, someone must. I won't be the only one, of course, because they've become quite common these days. I drive them because they're an iPad on wheels, and I love technology. But it's got Grok built into it. And if you've never used Grok, by the way, it's another one of the language models. Of course, it's the from Elon Musk, their version of kind of ChatGPT, etc. Grok is built into the car. And I've had some great conversations. And I know it sounds very strange, but if I'm going to a meeting, I can actually turn around and say, Grok, I'm going to this meeting to meet so-and-so person. Tell me more about the company. And then it will give me kind of all that feedback in a conversational way. So I can also learn whilst I'm driving as well. And it does some other great fun interactive things like conspiracy theory. If you want to chat and, Neil Armstrong land on the moon and things like that, you can have some quite good fun with it as well. So that's kind of my fun in the car go-to. But it also does great stuff if you want to create graphics, content, videos. Really good if you're using it on a desktop device as well. Don't have to use it just in the car. So loads of great things to think about.
Remember your automations as well. So for instance, I'll give you an example. For us, when people fill out our readiness assessment, it automatically links our LLM into our CRM system. And then, it populates, sends them their report. It sends them a link to book a call if they want to. So look at those processes, the automations. Like I said before, if you have comms problems, look at your generative AI. If you've got process problems, look at AI and automation. Decision and analysis problems, look at agentic AI, having systems work together. For instance, could your LLM actually jump onto your computer, look into your files, pull out the information you want, organize that meeting for you with that CEO of that company that you haven't met? There is so much that you can do.
Yeah. Ian's popped into the chat. Thank you, Maggie and David. You are life and time savers. Please do this again. Emily, I'm going to share your comment because I think everyone has a voice, but I can't believe with what we know, Grok has enabled that Grok is being recommended. It is personal. People don't like Elon Musk. That's absolutely fine. He's a game changer. He's changed the world in many different ways. Love him or hate him, he's Marmite. And Grok had its trouble, but let's not point all the fingers at Grok, because all these language models have had their challenges and will continue to do so. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying it's a very good tool and it's very powerful. But of course, like everything, it's made some errors and mistakes. But it's a very valid point, Emily, and I wanted to share it because it's only fair that we include everybody's voice. This is inclusive, and we want diverse input. That's what makes what we do, Maggie, fun. Yes. It's not for us to preach and tell and only show the good stuff. It's also to pick up on what everyone else thinks and feels.
It is live, yes. Yeah. Wonderful.
Before we go, I don't know if Eli's still in the background with us. If he turns his camera on, I know he's there. He is. There we go. Let's just bring Eli back in one last time. Eli, you've been sitting there in the green room just kind of listening in. Firstly, thank you very much once again coming along and sharing about Pretty Prompt. Apart from Pretty Prompt, because that's not fair, what else would you say is a go-to tool that you might use regularly?
I love two tools. On the transcript and notes from calls, I use Granola. I think it's really, really great, the fact that I can then chat back to my calls essentially and retrieve information that maybe I missed, or when I'm doing a little bit of research or customer discovery. It is great because essentially you are chatting with the context and they have these pre-built prompts inside that are really great. So Granola. I use Notion as my home base of all the notes and all the ideas, and whatever else comes that is text goes there. And to be honest, though there are some great AI presentation tools like slides that you can do with Gamma and also Canva. Yeah. They're really, really good. Somehow I keep going back to the normal Google suite of slides and Google Sheets and Google Docs. So I use the Gamma for like the more like presentation for outside, and I use like the
Graphics,
other
yeah.
for exactly. So that's me.
Yeah, brilliant, Eli. Yeah. Always, there's so many tools to explore, and every day I speak to someone, they've got something else, and it's like, oh wow, I've got to go and give that a try. And of course, our top one for today, of course, is Pretty Prompts. Thank you, Eli, for joining us here today and sharing that with us. Look forward to collaborating and working further with you in the future as well. And that's it. I think, Maggie, I think we've hit the 11:30 marker. I think we've done a pretty good job over 2 hours, kind of inviting and sharing. We will do more of these. For those that did register, by the way, an email will come out automatically once this session finishes with the recording of the video. It will stay online in our social channels as well, so please jump in and watch it. Those that did register, by the way, what you're also going to get, you're going to get an email coming to your email box with a link to download some extra tools and stuff like that. So some documents in there that will be useful. Bonus material, I call them. It's all free, but will be useful and helpful. And that's because you signed up. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Eli. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
Stay safe, and we'll see you again soon.
Wonderful. And if you think David and I can be of use to your business, to your organization, you know where to find us. And, we're more than happy to do some of these things with your teams. And we're all about safe adoption of AI as well. Wonderful.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a safe and brilliant day. And we'll see you again soon, very soon. Bye-bye.